Let's get to it here, everyone. Let's get to it here. First things first, we got some MVPs to talk about. The awards are done, everyone. The awards are done. And we got Ronald Acuna Jr. winning the MVP in the National League. Shohei Ohtani winning it in the American League. No surprise here. I mean, these two were clearly the MVPs of the league. If Corey Seager was healthy for a full season, I think he had a legitimate shot to win it. But Ohtani was just on another level this year. I mean, my goodness, even though his season was shortened, still just an incredible year for him. My goodness. It's a shame that we're not going to be able to see him pitch next year. But that man is really good with the bat, too, so I'm excited for that. And then Ronald Acuna Jr., the year that he had, just absolutely incredible year. Now, there will be some people out there saying it should have been Mookie Betts. I do personally think the two guys that won the awards were the rightful winners, in my opinion. Both unanimous. Seager coming in second place, Semien coming in third. J-Rod, hey, give J-Rod a lot of credit, man. With where he was at the All-Star break, he was not doing very well, and he moved all the way into fourth in the voting. So, seeing some young guys as well. Look at Kyle Tucker getting some votes too. Gotta love that. Yandy Diaz, Bobby Wick Jr., Gunnar Henderson. Can these three guys here, along with Rushman, could we maybe see these three guys in the future battling it out for the MVPs? We'll have to see. But in the National League, Mookie Betts coming in second, Freeman coming in third, Olsen in fourth, and then Corbin Carroll in fifth. The one thing I am surprised about is that Betts did not get even a first place vote at all. I actually thought he would get a couple, but in the end, the season that Acuna had, I mean, come on, it was just incredible what he did. He had the better batting average, the better on base, the better slugging, the better WRC plus, way more stolen bases, more home runs, one less RBI, 149 runs scored. He was clearly the MVP. The only thing that really held Acuna back in terms of, yes, he was miles ahead of Mookie Betts in my opinion, but his defense this year was not that great. While Mookie Betts, he was playing multiple positions, playing short, playing second, playing in the outfield. So that was, in my opinion, Mookie had an amazing year, but that was really the only other argument that Mookie had for the MVP was that he was playing multiple positions. So, but to me, Acuna just offensively this year was just miles better. I think he rightfully won the award, in my opinion. So congratulations to those two guys. Speaking of the Braves, we'll talk about them later on in the show. But let's transition here. Speaking of Shohei Ohtani, we got the Angels in the news. Will they be bringing Ohtani back? At this point, after seeing Judge going back to the Yankees last year, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up going back to the Angels. Either way, even if he stays, even if he goes, the Angels still plan to be aggressive this offseason, according to Perry Manajan. The problem with the Angels, in my personal opinion, are they going to be able to attract guys to come there with the lack of success that they've had? So they did bring in Ron Washington. I think that was a great move for them. Sure, you could have, possibly brought in some other guys, but Ron Washington, in my opinion, I think was a great pick, just because players love him around the league. He's very big on the fundamentals, which I think the Angels really need to just get back to, especially now that they have a lot of younger players coming up too. I think someone like Washington is going to be a really good fit for them, even if it is just for a few years. Will that move the needle in terms of the Angels competing? I'm not quite sure, but I do think they could be better than what we have seen in the last couple of years. But if they want to get better, they're going to have to add something to this roster, at least a couple of pieces, and that's where I think the problem lies. Are they going to be able to attract guys to come to the Angels? Where if I'm looking at the Angels right now, I actually don't mind the offense even without Ohtani, right? You're going to have Trout stay healthy. You're going to have Rendon seriously get it together. My goodness, that contract is atrocious. The one thing with Rendon, though, is the on-base did look pretty good last year. But in the end, his season was cut short. He's just had a tumultuous run with the Angels. Ward, his season unfortunately came to an end. But you got a lot of young players getting injected into this lineup. I love me some Seanwell. I love Ohapi coming back. Nato as well. So, Moniak really showed a lot last year, showing that, hey, this guy was a former number 1 pick and he was finally able to put something together. So I don't mind this lineup, to be completely honest with you, but there are a lot of question marks with it, with Trout's health, with Rendon, his health, and just his ability to even do something, right? The younger guys. But I do like the way it looks on paper. Could you add something to it? Sure. But if you did go into the season with this, I wouldn't necessarily hate it. Could you maybe add someone like a Teoscar Hernandez, to go into the outfield mix, add another righty bat there, add a little bit more pop? Sure, there is a lot of swing and miss, a lot of chase with Teoscar Hernandez. I could see him fitting, though. Where I think the Angels really need to improve is the pitching, both in the rotation and in the bullpen. More so the bullpen, to be completely honest with you. Estevez, sure. He had his moments last year. He did look all right at times. But to me, I'm not the biggest fan of Estevez in the closer role. I think if they had a chance to get Hader, who they have been connected to for a little while, right? Go back to the end of the season. There were reports saying the Angels are going to make a big run at Josh Hader. If they were able to land him and then Estevez, he's that like one of those setup guys, and you got someone like Ben Joyce in here. I love me some Ben Joyce. You could end up having a really good back end of the bullpen if you somehow enticed Hader to come there. As for the rotation, honestly, I was just talking about this with Jim on the Barreled Up podcast. If there is one guy that I think they could possibly maybe entice to go there, I do think someone like Blake Snell is someone that you could convince to come to the Angels. Why? Well, because Snell, he's already been on the West Coast here for the last couple of years, but Snell has a very laid-back personality, in my opinion. If you just, watch him, talking to whoever when it comes to the media or whatever else, Snell is a kind of a guy where he's just a loosey-goosey dude, and I could see him being like, you know what? Yeah, hey, give me the money. I'll go play for the Angels. Why not? I could see him maybe going there, right? I'm not saying he will, but I think if the Angels really gave him the money, really backed up that Brinks truck for him, yeah, I could see maybe Snell going there. I don't know, though. We'll have to see. But with the Angels, they are going to have money. Sure, yeah, they got a couple of big contracts here with Trout, with Rendon. But if you're looking at the estimated payroll for 2024, despite, having those big contracts, those are really the big contracts. These are the only big contracts they have. So they have a lot of payroll flexibility, and with Ohtani most likely going elsewhere, well, now you can use that money and you can distribute it to help other parts of the team. So I think honestly with Ohtani, yeah, sure, that's going to be a superstar player that you're losing, but I don't necessarily think that doesn't have to be a bad thing. So could you maybe bring someone like Snell, Hader, improve the pitching, maybe get a bat? I think the Angels could have a shot at being a decent team next year. A lot of factors are going to have to come into play. Good health, guys bouncing back, young players stepping up. There's going to be a lot to go right for the Angels for them to be able to be competitive next year, in my opinion. I see you in the chat. Your boy Connor, Angels just need to rebuild. I personally think that wouldn't be the worst idea, honestly. But, hey, the Angels, this is what they want to do. If that's what they want to do, then okay. Well, we got to roll with the punches here. We got to roll with what they want. And if they want to try and compete, if they want to be aggressive, that's the plan that I would take. Go after Snell, go after Hader, go after these guys, right? But you're going to have to pay, right? In my opinion, I think the Angels, they're just going to have to simply overpay for these kind of guys, right? If they want to get them there, they're going to really have to beat out these other teams' offers. So we'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening. But Hader, in my personal opinion, would be huge for this team just because their bullpen last year did not rank very well. They were in the bottom 5 when it came to Fangraph WAR with their bullpen, so they definitely need a lockdown kind of a guy. I don't mind Estevez, but to me, that's not my lead guy for the bullpen. Someone like Hader. If you can't get Hader, I know Kimbrel is a heart attack, but honestly, if they brought Kimbrel in, I wouldn't think that's the worst move. Chapman's a heart attack as well, but they need something for this bullpen, in my opinion. Another starter, I think, would go a long way. Could you maybe bring in possibly a couple of starters, right? I know you got 5 guys listed here, but let's say maybe you somehow convince Snell to come to the Angels. Maybe someone like Kyle Gibson, right, who could give you some innings, right? At the end of the day, I think with the Angels, it's not going to be just the players as well. I think it's also going to be the guys behind the scenes. Is the coaching staff going to be able to put these players in the right position? What's Ron Washington going to do with this coaching staff? Is he going to get the right guys in place to get the best out of these players? I think that's going to be key as well. And then obviously, you got the analytics department back there. You got the guys behind the scenes that you never even hear about. I think as an organization, there's more than just the players here. Everyone needs to be clicking in this organization. Will they be able to do that? I'm not quite sure. But we have another team that is also looking to make a splash, and that is the Toronto Blue Jays. They've made some splashes over the last couple of years, but they are showing some extreme interest in some of the bigger bats on the market. There is even Ken Rosenthal saying that they could be a sleeper for Shohei Ohtani. Personally, I do think when it comes to Ohtani, I do think they will put in a pretty good offer. To be completely honest with you, I think that is very possible. I think, let's say Ohtani ends up going to the Dodgers. I would not be surprised if you saw a report saying, hey, the Blue Jays, they made a really strong offer. They were in it until the end. They really wanted him, but they just couldn't come through in the end. I could see a report like that. I personally don't think they'll land him. I know you got the, a big Asian demographic there. I know. At the end of the day, though, I just don't know if the Blue Jays have really shown enough when it comes to the winning side of things to be able to convince Ohtani. If you're looking at the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, you're going Dodgers all day, despite them having, similar results in the playoffs the last couple of years, right? They've both taken early exits in the playoffs. But when you look at the Dodgers, you look at the player development there. To me, the Dodgers are just a more well-oiled machine than the Blue Jays have been, despite both teams making the playoffs the last couple of years. So when it comes to Ohtani, I don't think he's going to go there. Could they have a shot at someone like Cody Bellinger? I think that's very possible. I think they definitely could be in the Bellinger sweepstakes. But I was just talking with Jim on the Barreled Up podcast before this, where they did have a shot to bring in Bellinger, before the Cubs ended up bringing him in, and they didn't bring him in. So I wonder how strong on Bellinger they are, but that is an impact bat they could go after, right? If I'm looking here at the Toronto Blue Jays, right, they got some really good hitters in this lineup. You got Springer, you got Bichette. Vlad is going to have to step it up a little bit more next year. That 444 slugging, that to me is not acceptable with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., especially with what we saw from him not too long ago. He needs to get that slugging back up, in my opinion. He needs to be more of that impact bat. So I feel like they're lacking in these guys being more impactful, in my opinion. I'm looking at this lineup, sure, we're seeing Davis, Babe Ruth, Schneider in this lineup here with the 603 slugging over the 141 plate appearances, but you can't count on that fully moving forward, right? And when I'm seeing these top guys like Springer, Bichette, Vlad, and I'm not seeing any of these sluggings over 500, that worries me a little bit. You need to have an impactful bat in this lineup to me. And, with the Blue Jays as well, not a very good base running team last year. They were not very fast. They ranked near the bottom in terms of base running last year. So that's where I could see someone like Cody Bellinger, where he did have a pretty solid base running last year with 2.7. Obviously, with the bat, he was very good. So I could see Bellinger being a decent fit for this team. There is also someone like Jeimer Candelario, where Candelario, I think they would like to have Chapman back, but I don't think they would be completely sad if he ended up going elsewhere, and that's where you turn to the next guy below him, and that's Jeimer Candelario, who was pretty consistent with the bat last year. Overall, a solid season for him. It did kind of struggle towards the end, but overall hit 251, a 336 on base, the 471 slugging, the 117 WRC plus, 22 homers. He's a switch hitter. So, he's going to give you some decent defense at third base. This is a guy I honestly think the Blue Jays could sign. I could see this being a realistic option for them. If they really wanted to go for an impact bat, if there's two guys that when I think of the Blue Jays, I'm not sure if they're going to get Bellinger. I'm not sure. I wouldn't even say not sure. I don't think they're going to get Ohtani. But if you had two guys for me that I think the Blue Jays could realistically sign, I would say Jeimer Candelario, who they have been connected with, and then someone like Jorge Soler, where a guy that's going to really bring you some power, and I think he would be a really nice fit with the Toronto Blue Jays. You know, the chase rate was very solid last year, so he's not one of these, he's not one of these guys that's just going to be a home runner happy kind of a guy. He's going to be a solid bat for you. Gets a lot of barrels on the ball. I would like Jorge Soler for the Toronto Blue Jays, honestly, and they could fit him into the lineup, right? Just slot him in right at the DH spot. I could see something like that. So honestly, if you put Soler, Candelario in there, I think you got a really good lineup at that point. So, yeah, I could see the Blue Jays making some moves. Do I see them in the upper echelon of those kind of moves? No, I don't. I don't see them getting Ohtani. I don't even see Bellinger, honestly. I think it would be a great fit. I think Bellinger, with the skills that he brings to the table, I think would be a nice fit for the Toronto Blue Jays. So, Blue Jays fans, let me know. Let me know in the comments after the show. What do you think? Do you think Bellinger would be a good fit for the Blue Jays? I think he would. All right, I think the skills that he brings would be helpful for the Toronto Blue Jays, to be completely honest with you. So, let's move on. Let's move on here. And, Pac-Man, you got here. Hey, Robbie, I sent you a super chat yesterday and I never read it. Sorry, my friend. I did not see that. I wanted to know, what are the odds Yamamoto signs with the Red Sox? Pac-Man, listen, I'm high on Yamamoto to the Red Sox. I do think there's a chance there. I think there's a really good chance. The Dodgers are linked to Ohtani, right? Who knows what kind of a contract he's going to end up getting? Short deal, long deal, who knows, right? But if they're going to be spending the big bucks on Ohtani, are they also going to spend the big bucks on Yamamoto? I just wonder about that. I know the Dodgers, they got money, right? But that's a lot of money. Let's say they sign Ohtani to 11, 12 years, right? $500 million. And you're going to throw 7 years, $200 at Yamamoto, that's a lot. I wonder, and obviously with Yamamoto, a lot of teams would like to have him. I think the Cardinals could be an interesting fit, but with the Cardinals' lack of success with pitching over the last couple of years, I don't know if he would find them to be a good fit for him. And when I'm looking at the Red Sox, right, excuse my giraffe neck Robbie. I'm on a roll right now, but excuse my giraffe neck Robbie. Craig Breslow loves pitching. Andrew Bailey, new pitching coach for the Red Sox, has been a very good pitching coach for the Giants over the last couple of years. Listen, I'm just saying, man, don't be surprised if Yamamoto is a Red Sox. I know the Mets, they're enamored by him. I know there's those reports out there. I don't know, the Yankees could be an option as well, but they spent money on Rodon last offseason. Do they really go as hard for him as we think that they could? I'm not quite sure. But personally, I think the Red Sox have a really good chance to sign Yamamoto, which means he'll probably end up just going elsewhere. I hope not. I hope he's a Red Sox. But no, I agree. I think he ends up being a very big possibility for the Red Sox. We also just got something in. What did we got? John Heyman. What did John Heyman just say? John Heyman tweeting something. Saying here, I guess he has an article, New York Post. Oracle Park, a hurdle for Ohtani's pursuit. 3 hitters San Francisco is eyeing, 2 teams in on Chapman. Well, let's take a look-see. What is John Heyman saying in this article? We got a little something. And we also had something on Jonathan India as well. We got a little something from John Morosi. So let's actually pull those up here. And let me close out some of these tabs because my potato brain will not be able to handle all of these tabs. But John Heyman, let's go see what he just put. And then we'll also pull up the Morosi one as well. Here we go. So let me go to the Heyman one because he just posted this article. So I'd like to take a look-see at that. So he's saying that the Giants could be hindered by Oracle Park. It's unfriendly to left-handed hitters. Of course, my pop-up blocker is killing me right now. Let me disable the pop-up blocker. Here we go. But yeah, that is something to think about. Does Ohtani feel like he would be able to have, his best chances of a good offensive game at Oracle Park? That is one thing to think about, right? If we're looking here, my goodness, the pop-ups are incredible on the New York Post. It's amazing how many pop-ups they put. But for the Giants, they are interested in Matt Chapman. I personally think that's a perfect fit. I think it's such a great fit. Bob Melvin, old manager. They could use better defense at third base. I think Matt Chapman for the Giants is such a perfect fit, in my opinion. And then there's going to be people who say, oh, they got Casey Schmidt. Casey Schmidt had a lot of opportunities last year and could not grab the position by the horns, right? He had his shot, and he couldn't really do it. J.D. Davis is not good defensively there. J.D. Davis, to me, is more of a DH, in my opinion. I just think J.D. Davis is so limited defensively. He had negative 11 defensive runs saved last year. Chapman had plus 10. That's a 20-run difference right there with Chapman in the fold. Bellinger as well for the San Francisco Giants. Don't forget about Jung-Hoo Lee. I know Bellinger is the big name out there when it comes to outfielders, but Jung-Hoo Lee is an interesting name. Don't forget about him. And then, of course, you got the GOAT, Kevin Kiermaier. So, hey, the Giants, they're going to be looking for something. And then maybe the trade market. Maybe Alex Verdugo could be a fit for the San Francisco Giants. That could be possible. So the Giants, they're looking to make some moves. We had a little something from John Morosi earlier. The Reds are discussing Jonathan India with 3 or 4 teams. Talks are described as active, right? Right off the bat, I think the White Sox could use someone like him. The Tigers, I think, could use someone like him. If you're talking the Blue Jays, maybe the Blue Jays could make a move. They could maybe make some room for Jonathan India. Maybe the Red Sox, right? They could use a second baseman. Maybe Jonathan India could be a guy. He wouldn't cost all that much. So, I'm wondering, and hold on, I got to see. Let me pull up the Reds real quick. I don't know if this is actually a good trade. Let me actually see something. Could you maybe, my goodness, Fangraphs, you're always killing me when I'm live. If I'm looking, no, I don't think it would be a good fit. I was thinking, could you just swap Verdugo and India? Nah, probably not, because India has a little more control. I don't know if the Reds would want to do that. Probably not. I don't see that. Honestly, when I think about Verdugo, the other day on my trade predictions video for Verdugo, I came up with the idea of including Verdugo in a package for Bryce Miller of the Mariners, right? That is something I could see because Verdugo, he's a player that can help you out now, and you put some prospects with him, you're getting a little bit of everything. You're getting a player that can do something for you now, improve your defense out in the outfield, do a little bit with the bat, but then put a couple of prospects with him too, and I think you could land something, in a package like that, personally. Do I see that for India? No. I don't think you'd probably do a straight-up trade of Verdugo in India. I don't think that would work out, honestly. I don't think the Reds would even want that. I think they would want at least some younger players out of it that are under control. We'll have to keep an eye on this. So let's get to a couple more stories before we really close up shop for the night. And we got a little off-the-field news. And the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's are officially going to Las Vegas. I mean, we've been hearing this for a long time now. But Major League Baseball, the owners, they approved the relocation of the Athletics to Las Vegas. My guess is they probably end up keeping the name. I don't see why they would change the name. Who knows? Maybe they end up just wanting something different. I don't know. But here was the statement from John Fisher. I want to express my gratitude to the owners and commissioner for their thoughtful deliberation and positive votes in favor of our relocation to Las Vegas. Today marks a significant moment for our franchise, and it's met with mixed emotions, sadness for this change, and excitement for our future. I know this is a hard day for our fans in Oakland. We made sincere efforts to keep our team in Oakland, but unfortunately, it did not work out. I am grateful to the fans who have supported our team throughout the years and the home Oakland provided. The storied history of our franchise includes 3 cities over the past century. Oakland, along with Kansas City and Philadelphia, will always be part of this franchise's DNA. We are excited to begin this next chapter in Las Vegas. I want to thank the Las Vegas and Nevada community for welcoming us. We will continue to work hard to bring home more championships for our fans and for our new home in Vegas. So, yeah, obviously, there have been a lot of people not very receptive to this. Anytime a team moves from wherever they are, you're going to be met with a lot of unhappiness. And one thing with John Fisher, he did say this as well today. Today is an incredibly difficult day for Oakland A's fans. It's a great day for Las Vegas. Personally, don't think that was the best line to say. It's just, I don't know. I just think it's kind of like you got to read the room, my friend. Like, it's kind of one of those things. I don't know. To me, I don't know. I just wouldn't have made a statement like that personally. I can understand the one that, yes, the piece that he put out here, but I didn't like this line very much. Now, I have a couple of thoughts on this, and I have talked about this in the past. When it comes to John Fisher and the A's, right, along with Major League Baseball, I personally think, say what you will, say whatever thoughts you have. I think it's very fair for A's fans to not be happy about this, and not be happy about, the lack of upgrades with the Coliseum over the years, the lack of payroll. And when you're looking at the payroll, they have not been in the top 20 since 2007. So anytime you have like new ownership that comes in or whatever, you always see something along the lines of they want to look over things for a few years, right? And this kind of makes sense that their payroll would just dramatically drop off like this, where they went from 18th in 2007 to 27th in 2008. I honestly think back in 2005, this is my own opinion, this is my own thought, this is my own guess at this thing. I'm speculating completely. I personally think when he took over the team back in 2005, I think he had a long-term vision of eventually moving out of Oakland. I think he thought that from the very get-go. I think Major League Baseball eventually wanted out, that he had said that they had, talked with the city of Oakland. And I don't know. I just feel like with Oakland, you got passionate fans there, man. The Oakland A's fans, passionate group of fans. I've been to the Coliseum. They get loud, right? They get very loud for their A's, and tons of support there for their A's. I've just thought for a long time, Major League Baseball, when you see these other cities out there, a city like Vegas too, where there could be a lot more opportunities for the marketing. I think Major League Baseball has just thought this for a long time. I think they've had Vegas circled as a city that could end up being a team to get a Major League Baseball franchise. And I just think with the lack of being able to come to a deal with the city of Oakland, and, also, I think John Fisher, you can say what you want about him, not upgrading the payroll and everything like that. That's on him too. I think at the end of the day, you got to put a good product onto the field. And when you're pinching pennies as much as he did, it's not a great look at the end of the day. So yeah, definitely blame Fisher for the lack of upgrading the team. That's where I think he has just not wanted to spend on this team for a long time, because I think he has just been looking to this time. I think he's honestly, he looked at when he took over this team, this franchise, this organization. I think he just saw the long road, right? I think he saw the big picture, and I think he just didn't want to put any money into this team. Honestly, I don't think this is why I think he just didn't want to stay in Oakland. Maybe you can make the argument that he didn't want to put anything into this team because maybe he wasn't sure. Maybe he thought about staying in Oakland. Maybe he just wasn't sure if they were going to, so he didn't really want to put that money into that, right? So because he wanted to, allocate that for down the road, right? So, yeah, say what you will about John Fisher. I think that's very fair to point the finger at him. I definitely think so, right? When your owner of your team is not spending the money, they're not going out and getting free agents, then yeah, that's on him. However, I will also say too about the city of Oakland, right? The city of Oakland, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, city of Oakland, right? A lot of crime has been increasing. My brother used to live in Alameda. I don't know if I have any Oakland A's fans here. My brother, who was in the Coast Guard, and he lived in Alameda. That's right near Oakland. And my brother said it was just not in great shape, right? The city itself, had some nice spots, but there was just a lot there that wasn't great, right? And that's not my account. That's my brother. I don't know. I'm just saying he lived over there. But so I think like maybe the city of Oakland could have done a little bit of more of something there, right? Just for the city. But John Fisher, yes, you can absolutely blame him for the franchise, right? But that's where I just don't think he wanted to stay in Oakland. And I think Major League Baseball thought that too, right? Fisher didn't want to upgrade the team. He didn't want to upgrade the stadium. Oakland, they weren't doing enough maybe in their eyes to where they felt like the city itself wasn't a good long-term option for them. And I think they just saw something else down the road. I think this, to me, has been in the works for a long time. That's my opinion. So in the end, it is what it is. They're going to Vegas. If you want an idea of what it could look like, well, there you go. You got a little something there. It says Las Vegas on the jerseys. I don't know. Looks a little weird to me. I wonder if they keep the colors. I wonder if they go with something else. Am I mispronouncing Alameda? Is it Alameda? Alameda? Sorry, I don't remember how to say it. But anyway, Las Vegas, right? Do they keep the colors? Do they go with a different color scheme? I wonder. Do they just go with a different logo, different name? Who knows? Who knows? But they actually already have the new part of the website up already, right? To stay informed and learn more about the ballpark in Vegas, just fill out this form. Just go to the website. They got some information here on the new ballpark. They got a whole bunch of stuff here. So they already got everything. So if you want to go check that out, you can. We got one more thing to talk about, and my goodness, I'm keeping this as close to baseball as we can. I am not a political guy. I'm not talking politics on this channel. We're not doing it. We're talking baseball here. I will give a couple of opinions on the next story, but my goodness, please keep this civil, for crying out loud, because I already just, I saw it all over the place today. But the Atlanta Braves, they are getting their All-Star game back. And I honestly think this is the right move, right, for the Braves to get their All-Star game. They're supposed to have it in 2021, right? Got taken away because there was a whole thing with all the voting laws and whatever. Say what you will. Have your own opinions. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Agree to disagree, right? Just leave it at that. But to me, I was not personally, and you can disagree with me, I was not a fan of them losing their All-Star game in 2021. I've been on the record of this before. Personally, I didn't like that they moved the way they did, right, going to Colorado, because I was thinking of all the small businesses around. I was thinking of all the businesses around, right, just fans, right? Atlanta is a great fan base, right? I just didn't like that, it got moved the way it did, right? And especially, businesses around there were gearing up for it, and then it just was gone, right? And the Braves had nothing to do with it. Like, it was, to me, it's the Braves, it's like they lost something, but it wasn't even on them, right? And all those businesses too had literally nothing to do with them. So that's where I personally just didn't like the idea of it. In my personal opinion, Major League Baseball moved it because they didn't want to lose sponsorships at the end of the day. At the end of the day, that's what it is. They didn't want to lose money, right? They didn't want big-time sponsors pulling out. So they just played it safe and they just moved, right? Of course, people are going to disagree on it, but it is what it is. And another thing, too, I didn't like about them losing the All-Star game was you had the whole Hank Aaron thing, right? Hank Aaron had passed away. They were going to have a big tribute for him. And to me, I just hated that. Like, I thought that would have been so perfect, right, with the Braves having the All-Star game. And I just think it was not the best idea to just move it the way they did. That's just me, all right? In the end, though, they're getting their All-Star game back, and City of Atlanta, got to wait a couple of years. Next year it's going to be in Texas, which I think is going to be awesome. That's cool. They get an All-Star game after winning a World Series. I think that's cool. So, hey, can my Red Sox please have an All-Star game? Excuse my giraffe neck Robbie, but my goodness, you would love Fenway Park to get an All-Star game again. My goodness, please. 1999. Most amazing all-star game of all time, in my opinion. Don't even argue with me. But 2025, Braves getting their all-star game back. I think it's the right move. Hey, say what you will. My goodness, keep it civil in the comments, for crying out loud. Agree to disagree, whatever. But everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to get out of here. I got some stuff I got to work on. I got a video coming out this weekend that I got to start getting to work on. But we have a couple of super chats here before I do get out of here. We got one from Yankee Frankie. And the other one, we got two from Yankee Frankie. Here we go. Yankee Frankie. What a great name. Yankee Frankie. Who do you think is the unlikely team to sign Ohtani if not the Dodgers? I think the Giants, because I think they need to make a splash. The only problem with the Giants is they just never can land the big one. Honestly, if you were to ask my honest opinion, I don't know. I just wonder, how motivated are the Cubs? Right? Do the Cubs? I think the Cubs are motivated. Let me take that back. I mean, the Cubs are motivated, but do they actually see themselves landing him? All right. I just wonder about that. I think the Giants definitely have a good shot, right? Say what you will, with Heyman earlier about Oracle Park, but I think Ohtani at the end of the day, hey, if they throw the money at him, then why not? The only problem is that they just haven't been able to win. Honestly, if you were to actually ask me who I think could be the number 2, right? If, let's say, the Dodgers, something he doesn't like, something doesn't work out, he's not a fan, he wants something else. Honestly, why not the Texas Rangers, right? The Texas Rangers just winning a World Series. They got money to play with. I think the Texas Rangers would be a great shot, or would have a great shot at him. And he did like what the Rangers, what they presented to him back before he signed with the Angels. So, personally, I think the next team, I think the Giants do have a good shot, but I think the Rangers would be right there too. So, give me that. I think if the Rangers really want him, I'll go that, right? The Giants, they can just they never land the big one, right? They should try and go after Ohtani, in my opinion. Yankee Frankie, $5 super chat. The Yankees need to be aggressive this offseason, sign Bellinger and Yamamoto, and trade to get out of the Stanton contract. Listen, if they can somehow get out of that contract with Stanton, I think that'd be great if they could do that. I agree with you. They definitely need to be aggressive. The number 1 target is Juan Soto. I think they need to go after him, trade for him, sign him to that extension. I don't care what anyone says about, no, he wants to go to free agency. You're the freaking Yankees. Put an offer that he can't refuse. Put him in pinstripes for life. Bellinger, sure. Yeah, there's a fit for Bellinger there. Yamamoto, yeah, sure. The Yankees, they need to have a good offseason. I agree. They need to be aggressive. So, and Marble Snow, the Mariners are a sleeper. Yeah, I think Ohtani, I think there's a chance you could do something there. I think that'd be a great fit. So, we'll have to see. Everyone, I'm out of here. If you can, on the way out, hit that subscribe button for me. If you are new, hit the like button on the way out as well. And also, share the show if you can. I will love you forever if you can do that. But real quick, I do just want to go over tonight's sponsors, and that is Underdog Fantasy. You all know I love my Underdog Fantasy. How's the game going? It looks like we have a pretty good game going tonight. I guess Burrow isn't playing tonight, so Jake Browning is in the game. I didn't know that. Well, darn. I mean, Burrow, that would have been great if he was in there, but oh well. But you can still make picks for the Bengals and the Ravens. You can still literally go on Underdog right now and make your picks, even though it's in-game, right? So that's one cool thing about Underdog Fantasy, is you can make in-game picks, but plenty more football this weekend coming up, and then you got basketball as well. So go check it out. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can play. You can do pick'ems. You can enter drafts as well, daily drafts, and try and win yourself some cash. But as always, please, everyone, play responsibly. That is the most important thing at the end of the day. And also go check out Factor Meals. The link is in the description down below. The code is HIDE50, and they have great meals, whole bunch of different ways you can order meals or a whole bunch of different options. I'm telling you, they're really good. If you're looking for higher protein, keto, even vegan, there's a whole bunch of different options for you to choose from. Go check it out. And with my code HYDE50, you get 50% off. That's a heck of a deal. You get like 8 meals for ends up being like $50, $55. And they're really good quality meals, in my opinion. So go check it out. Hey, they've been a great support for us. If we can show their support back for them and for the channel, I will love you forever. Everyone, I'm out of here. I got to work on some stuff, and I got to get this wrapped up. Have yourself a great night, everyone, and I'll talk to you next time.